So maybe people that believe in astrology have no control over their lives, dude.
They've never thought about their thoughts once.
No, they don't know what mindfulness even is. So you can see the pattern nonsense like abundantly in casinos. Another one is astrology.
Well, astrology is real.
Astrology is one of the most widespread nonsense pattern fallacies alive today because you see it in 60% of Tinder bios.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I brought up last week how I don't remember why I brought up the fact that I'm single and on dating apps last week, but what were we talking about not last week, 2 weeks ago? But what were we talking about? What was the episode about?
It was about faith for 3 hours.
For 3 hours.
What the hell were you talking about Tinder?
I brought up that last
faith
week.
For
it was something to do with other people's bios. Oh, it was because I believe in Jesus, and we were talking about how, we were talking about how we wanted to get to know how real their faith was.
Right.
Well, also, a lot of people do that. They'll be like, I'm a Libra.
Cancer. It's like, yeah, you're freaking Cancer.
I'm a Cancer. It is funny. It is funny. And we've talked about astrology. I don't know if we talked about it on this podcast necessarily, but we've talked about it in general and about how they're so general of definitions that they could apply to almost anybody.
Yeah.
I do feel like, not that I'm saying it's real, but I do feel like I can really identify with a lot of the Cancer traits, and I can look at other people and their star sign, and it seems like they fall in line with a lot of the things that are said there. And the reason it's because you got to do a cross-examination, because then it's just like, well, what if I was that? Am I that? And it's usually not. So it is interesting, but I'm not saying it's real. I'm just saying it is interesting.
Well,
to me.
that leads us right into another form of pattern seeking, which is confirmation bias. Which absolutely, which explains that perfectly, is if you start with X framework and follow reasons why you might be in X framework, like Cancer, generally speaking, you're going to find reasons.
So you know what a better way to do this would be?
What?
Just take at random and not know what star sign it is. Just take the traits of a star sign, and let's hopefully you don't know them, which one it is off the top of it, and then see if you identify with it. And
or just get a sample of people, disregard what their actual star sign is, randomize what star sign they get, and then pattern match to it.
That's what I'm saying.
If you can, then I'll tell you that has been done ad nauseum. It's nonsense. So
that is interesting. So yeah, if you don't know what star sign you're trying to align with, and you're just aligning with something, you might have an easier time identifying.
Right. Yeah. That's literally confirmation bias. Is if there are reasons to find a thing, you will find the reasons. It is that simple, and that's why religion is a thing.
Damn. Can't go one episode without dogging religion.
I can't. We just can't do it. We can't go one episode without trying to.
I can't judge. It's usually me
trying to dunk on religion. But I mean, it is obviously this is not a unanimously applied thing, but so often it is the fact that when people start with the conclusion and go to the evidence, they find their evidence, right? It doesn't have to be religion. It can be literally most things. If they start with their conclusion and look for the evidence, they will find the evidence.
Answers in Genesis.
All the answers you could need. Right. So, yeah, that's confirmation bias. So there's a study by science.org looking at the illusory patterns in people. So they tried to see if people would see images in just random noise, like static noise on a TV, or forming false correlations in the stock market between two maybe similar things.
Yeah.
Or conspiracy thinking. That's another big thing that people find patterns in. And also superstitions, like how I said lucky shoes or something like that.
Are there any superstitions that you previously held?
Well,
Or currently
I was
hold,
gonna say
I
there might
guess.
be superstitions that I currently hold.
Well, yeah, it's kind of just a thing. Well, we're talking about it. It's dumb humans thing in nature.
Right, it's dumb humans. Yeah, it's kind of built into us that we like. I feel like I've been having better luck with XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's so subconscious that it's not like
It's like you
it
can't
doesn't
recognize
stand out in my mind.
You can't recognize the problem in your logic with it because you don't know it's a problem.
Right. Yeah. Like. Yeah. Okay. There maybe is a illusory pattern. So recently, during my deliveries, it's been getting quite heavy because it's nearing Christmas, and I've been running a lot, and because I don't run all the time, my knees start to feel that after a few days of consistently running.
Yeah.
And being unconditioned for it. So I switched shoes to a more cushioned shoe, and because it feels to me like it would help with something like that. But in fact it makes it worse because the more cushioned your shoe is, the more stabilizing that your ankles and knees have to compensate for.
Yeah.
So, or did I say the less cushioned? The more cushioned a shoe is. Did I say that?
I don't remember which one you
Whatever
said.
it is. The more cushioned a shoe is, the more stabilizing work your ankles and knees have to do to compensate for it. Which is the exact opposite of giving your joints a break. So, but for some reason it feels nicer on my feet. So I'm like, maybe this is making things better, but in fact it's actually making things worse. So maybe that's a superstition.
You know what? I assume you'd classify this as a superstition. You know what's one that always annoys me?
What?
That other people do? I mean, I've done it before, but it's like the one where if you speak something into existence, the opposite is going to happen or something. You know, like if we're
like counter manifestation?
kind of like if we're out throwing frisbees and I throw a shot and somebody goes, "Oh man, that's a good shot," and then it hits a tree. And then everybody goes,
Nicing,
"Oh,
nicing
come
the shot."
on, man!"
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. I'm always like, that doesn't have anything.
Shut up. Yeah. I mean, I do it because it's a funny haha.
Yeah. But there are people. I know people that will literally be like, "I can't believe you would say something like that." And I'm like, as if my words shifted the air.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking? My words planted the tree. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah. That now, in a world like disc golf, nicing someone's shot is, I think it's more often seen as just a funny haha.
Yeah.
But the whole concept of jinxing
is
not always seen as a funny haha.
Because that happens. That is such a prevalent thing that people talk about. Oh, you jinxed me. It's like, I don't know about that.
We need to ask people how many of them actually believe that there's like some force in the universe called, well, I guess it would be related to something like karma, maybe.
Yeah.
But if there's actually some force in the universe that is somehow dictating this stuff. You've brought this up on the podcast before, and how if you tell yourself, like if you're, I don't know, let's say you're top 5 in a battle royale video game.
Yeah.
And you're like hyping yourself up, like, I got this, we can do this, we're gonna make this, we're gonna get this dub. And this might actually have been the exact example you gave.
I have no recollection of what you're talking about, but continue.
Well, you're talking about Joey.
I still have no recollection.
Okay, well, this is going to be a new information for you. So, if you were playing this game, you're hyping yourself up, talking to yourself. Some people might say like, "Shut up, you're gonna jinx it. Don't say anything. Let's get to the end and worry about it then." So, but in reality, because we just talked about how sometimes the psychological effect that actually believing something can have on you can help that thing to actually happen.
Yeah.
So if anything, in that instance, jinxing would help. Or not jinxing, sorry. Telling yourself you're going to beat the match or whatever. Encouraging yourself would help the situation.
Well, because it can go one of two ways. Either it's you bring it up and then you've jinxed it, but in a way that's helped you maybe be a little more cautious or something, or have a little more focus. Or if you say something with a lot of like, hey, we're going to win this, we got this, maybe that let your guard down a little bit. It could go either way.
That's true. You're right. And none of it has to do with forces in the universe, something called jinx.
It's all psychological.
It's all psychological, right? Yeah. It can help in some certain circumstances and hurt in others. So back to this study where they studied people and their illusory pattern seeking. This is really interesting. The more out of control of the situation that they felt, the greater their pattern seeking tendency was. The more in control that they felt, the less pattern seeking there was. And it was I didn't write the exact numbers down, but it was a pretty big margin.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. If you are in a situation where you feel out of control, your brain's going to work its best to try and get patterns, make connections the best it can to make yourself feel in control.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you already feel secure, you're in control, you have no like anxiety about anything, the amount of false connections you're going to make to nonsense is a lot less because your brain doesn't need to do that to feel in control. We have a built-in psychological aversion to feeling like we're out of control of a situation, which is really interesting. So, and people that scored higher in cognitive reflection, that could also be just called mindfulness, were less likely to find illusory patterns in all situations. So if you were more mindful of your own psychological state in the moment, at any given moment, you were less likely to find and identify illusory patterns.
I feel like that's intuitive also, because instead of quote unquote wasting your time with these patterns out in the world that aren't actually real, you are instead making patterns in your own mind. Your control comes from within.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's actually, that makes sense. Yeah. So that's interesting. So maybe people that believe in astrology have no control over their lives, dude.
They've never thought about their thoughts once.
No. They don't know what mindfulness even is.
Wow. Called out.
Because, it does kind of make sense if you are in a state of or if you've grown up with a lack of control over your own life, maybe you have to feel like you need to identify with a type of person, and astrology is a way to do that. You know,
maybe you could take it a step further, and you could say that. You could say like, oh, this person, thinks about their personality and how they align with the star signs. Maybe they are really introspective in that way, but really they're relying on something external in themselves to tell them who they are.
Right. Exactly. They're getting a sense of control by illusory pattern
instead
seeking.
of actually understanding themselves. They're letting something else tell them what they are, and that is, quote, thinking about themselves, but the thing's already done the thinking for them.
Exactly. Yeah. So maybe there's something there. Astrology. People, they need to be more secure in their lives, gain some control over their lives, get some independence. So yeah, pattern seeking. That's one way that we're really dumb, and I think that's quite interesting.